If you could replace Cara Dune with any actor or actress without explanation, who are you picking?
See,
Nicolas
Eric Andre's
Cage.
a good choice.
I just I just think that every piece of media is made exponentially better by having Nicolas Cage there for no reason.
Mando! What's up, guys? It is Alex.
And Alicia.
And welcome back to Full Sabacc. This week's episode is definitely an episode.
Yeah, as far as theme, it's just all over the place.
But we'll figure it out somehow, don't worry. But the overarching theme is that Gina Carano is gone.
As my king Rahul Kohli said, girl, bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Gina.
Okay, so I sent you the thing where she said she's going to make a movie with Ben Shapiro, right?
Shapiro.
And she was like,
welcome
the
to
rebellion
the
is welcome to the rebellion. And I'm like, oh, imagine being in a Star Wars show and still not understanding the whole point of the rebellion in that franchise, which was fighting against people like you.
Anti-fascism. Yeah. Dude, this is so fucking funny to me because it's like all she had to do was not post Nazi sympathizer memes on Instagram.
I mean,
and
honestly,
she couldn't even do that.
We know that Star Wars has a long way to go as far as not being a super shitty company. But you have to do a lot to get fired by them for being insensitive, and you also have to do a lot for my gay ass to be like, I'm so glad the strong female character with huge biceps is not coming back.
Literally, how terrible do you have to be? Oh my god, someone
I can't believe it.
Yeah, she's a piece of shit. I said I saw somebody say on Twitter, they were like, they started a GoFundMe for Don Cheadle to replace Gina Carano.
Oh my god.
And someone was like, I think Eric Andre would also be a good choice. And I agree with that one.
True. Actually,
they don't acknowledge it at all.
They just, there's no explanation at all. That actually is a good segue into our first question, which is, Gina Carano is officially gone. Hell yeah. 10 minutes ago, as of me writing this, party time. I do love that one of the first things you did after that news was announced was to come to us. That means a lot. Thank you.
It means a lot to us.
But so that leads to my question. If you could replace Cara Dune with any actor or actress without explanation, who are you picking?
See,
Nicolas Cage.
Is a good choice.
I just think that every piece of media is made exponentially better by having Nicolas Cage there for no reason.
Mando, hand over the child.
Well, he would have a fucking huge meltdown.
Oh, it'd be so great. Oh my god. We're gonna steal the Galactic Declaration of Independence.
And he would just be screaming, and Mando would just be standing there oh, I just lost my kid. I can't deal with this right now.
Why the hell have you crashed the Razor Crest?
Oh my god.
It's not a good impression, but it is an impression.
It certainly is an impression. Well, I mean, it sounds like him to me.
No, thanks. I feel like if it sounds like him enough, it's,
Yeah.
It is
okay,
what it is.
I know you said no explanation, but that was slightly an explanation for Nick Cage. But on a serious note, if Katie O'Brien hadn't already been in The Mandalorian as Moff Gideon's, Imperial whatever she is, I don't know, she's only in 2 episodes for 2 seconds, underutilized. I would say her, but I'm gonna go with Lana Parrilla.
I don't know who that is. I'm Googling right now. I'm sure if I saw her face. Oh,
she's
I know who she
from
is.
Once Upon a Time or whatever.
Yes.
Which I never really watched that show, but like,
Great show. I love it.
okay, that's a lie. Like some people that I lived with a long time ago did actually sort of make me watch that show, and I did not retain anything from it except that she is hot and I think she would do a great job.
Yes, I agree. At first I was gonna say Eric Andre, but I was made to feel as though that were foolish.
By
Um,
who? Not me. I said Nicolas
no,
Cage.
it was myself.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe like, dude, I just had a thought. Imagine Greta Gerwig directed The Mandalorian and Timothy Chalamet was Din and Cara Dune was Saoirse Ronan.
Oh my god. Well, I think Saoirse Ronan should play Din actually, and Timothy Chalamet should play Cara Dune.
You know what? I'm writing that down. I'm gonna send that in an email to somebody, and then
It's in
it's to my mom.
recipient um just George Lucas at lucasfilms.com.
Timothy Chalamet at timma.the.
.biz.
.uk.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I would like to see that
Mhm.
that done.
Tamir Morrison could pull a double. We could double cast him.
That's true. And then he could have a sort of Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap moment where he's like
Oh, I take it
talking
back.
to himself.
I want Cara Dune to be Lindsay Lohan. Next question.
Or Britney Spears.
Oh, Britney Spears can do anything.
She really can.
She fucking can.
Yeah, so a lot there's, lots of good suggestions in there.
Yeah,
I think
let us know the most absurd casting choice you could possibly think of.
this question goes, so according to George Lucas, Jedi were allowed to have meaningless sex, so who do you think is the biggest fuckboy of the Jedi Order? I think it's Qui-Gon, but like I know Clone Wars Kit Fisto got around.
You're right. You're right, and you should say. I have a lot of thoughts on this. May I word vomit?
You may word vomit because my answer is short and to the point.
Okay, you go first.
No, you go first because mine
Okay.
is going to probably not line up with yours at all.
Okay. Yeah, Kit Fisto absolutely fucks. Kit Fisto fucks nasty, number one. Qui-Gon is a slut. I've always received that energy from him. And I just know that that is the case. Quinlan Voss was slinging dick all around the galaxy, and if you don't believe that, you're a fool. I think I don't Obi-Wan, I don't know. I feel like he's had like one or two trysts of sorts. But I feel like he's just like either too busy for sex or he's clinically depressed.
Okay. I'm gonna
I will.
say I disagree with almost all of that except Qui-Gon. And it's obviously Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Oh
Um,
my god.
no, hear me out. He had like 5 wives, and he said he wasn't attached to any of them, which has got to be the most fuckboy thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So,
Damn.
I rest my case.
Good lord.
Yeah, I mean, it was like solely as a means of like keeping his species like from going extinct
Oh,
is
he's like
why like the
Genghis
Jedi
Khan.
Order like allowed him to be like polyamorous or whatever. But like
Oh.
I get lost. You're gonna have 5 wives and like 7 kids and be like, nah, I'm not attached to any of them. I'm gonna just go back to Coruscant. Fuck you guys.
I
I mean, that's disrespectful as hell.
yeah, I think yeah, I think that's valid. As much as I hate saying this from the bottom of my soul, I think Yoda's a fuck 'em and leave 'em on red type of guy.
I don't ever want to hear those words come out of your mouth again. I
Okay,
do.
well, I'm sorry that I'm smart and have good opinions and correct opinions. But that's not something to. Oh, I broke my carabiner.
Okay,
That was
gay person.
I have to say that was a pretty homosexual thing of me to say. Can I borrow one of
Um,
yours? I know you got 50.
no, I am down to one. They keep breaking.
What kind
And
of a homo are you?
I just keep leaving them with people that I find mildly attractive. It's like a mating call. So
You drop them like breadcrumbs out of a Trader Joe's.
it's like dropping your handkerchief in front of someone that you wish would court you, but you just drop a carabiner, but it's like really loud and like clangs around. They're like, "Oh, you dropped your carabiner." And you're like, "Yeah, leave it there.
A
I'll
very
walk
muscular
away."
woman
And then you
picks
pick
it
it
up.
up.
A very muscular woman picks it up and chases after me in the parking lot.
You're like, "Keep that, it's yours." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
fucking want it. I don't want it.
Why the fuck would I want a carabiner? Lady, please
What
just
am I
take it.
what am I going bouldering? Like, what the fuck is this for?" Like, I don't know. Were you inviting me to, or
Oh my god. Ayla Sakura, if you're listening to this, this is dedicated to you.
God. Um
Again, I
so
can't even look at her for too long because I feel ashamed.
and
It's
that
not her
was like a
fault.
deliberate decision, which we'll also get into. I guess, well, we might as well get into it now.
Let's get into it.
Someone our conversation with feeling uncomfortable about like looking at her on Twitter wanted us to discuss the blatant over sexualization of female Twi'leks in Star Wars. And they were like, why is it that they are always so hypersexualized? Well, it's the racism and misogyny, to be, just cut and dry about it.
Yeah.
But I sorry, I'm going to probably go on for a long time about this, but
No, please.
it's so bad, even just from like the original trilogy, right? Like it. The first time we see Twi'leks is, I think, in Empire Strikes Back. They're both dancers at Jabba's palace. The first time that we get one that actually like has like a name is Ula, who is played by Femi Taylor, who is a Nigerian-born British actress. And she's a dancer that's enslaved to Jabba the Hutt. And then Bib Fortuna, who is a Twi'lek male, is played by Michael Carter, who was a white actor. And he's Jabba's major domo, and he holds like pretty much the second highest position of power within like Jabba's inner circle. Like, okay, Ula's fed to the Rancor because she like mildly offends Jabba, and Bib eventually becomes Jabba's successor. Although we don't learn that until the Mandalorian. I feel like it's still like worth pointing out. And then even in content geared towards a younger audience, like Clone Wars, which I mean we've established it's actually not that kid friendly. There's a lot going on, but like they portray female Twi'leks as like entertainers in the nightclubs of Coruscant, and like if you remember in the episode where Plo and Ahsoka go to one of those nightclubs, I think it's in season 2, like one of the final episodes of the season, there's a Twi'lek dancer working in the club, and then these two dudes are talking about like dating her and stuff, like she's not even there, even though she's literally right in front of them. It's just like basically treating them as objects constantly. And then if you look at the concept art for that episode, it's gross. It's like she's like wearing even less in the concept art than they ended up having her wear in the episode, which like I'm glad that they like let her wear something, but like it's just bad. And it gets even worse when you venture into like extended universe stuff, because like their home planet, Ryloth, it's part of the Republic, but the women were constantly sold into slavery, which is actually what happens to Ayla Secura when she was like 2, and she was rescued by Quinlan, who became like her master, and she became his apprentice and stuff. Or they were like captured during raids and then sold. And then like in the Quinlan Voss episode, in the Jedi in Darkness issue of Star Wars Omnibus, Ayla's talking about like how Twi'lek females are treated on her home planet, and she says that they're essentially bred to be frivolous and good only as slaves or playthings, whereas the men are taught that they can go on to do important things with their lives and that they're pretty much superior just for being born as male. And like even when Ayla rescues her cousin Lon, his immediate reaction is to be like, oh, like you can't be a Jedi, you're a woman. And
and for Star Wars, which generally doesn't have that much of a sexist overtone, not to say there are no sexist undertones because there are plenty, but just in the story that's been established, there is no inherent sexism in like the Jedi Order. Like that's not the culture. Like women can be warriors, and like especially in the episodes with the Night Sisters and things like that, like they're the most ferocious warriors and things like that. And so it's like, again, this is not saying Star Wars does not have sexism problems, because it does by a long shot, but in the overtone of the culture of the galaxy, it's less common for it to be so like outspoken. So like for a race that is essentially like, I want to say black coded, if that's especially played by uh by black actors, even
Yeah.
with the makeup and the prosthetics, they're still, you know what I mean, like it's still like, even though they're not human and they're aliens, they're still black coded. So like for that like serious overtone of like blatant sexism and racism and the slavery plot lines like you talked about, especially in the extended universe, it's like, it's very
I mean,
telling.
yeah, it's very blatant. And like, I think a lot of times Star Wars will use like aliens as a stand-in for having diversity in their content. Like
Yeah.
they'll be like, like for example, like Maz Kanata in the sequel trilogy
Mm-hmm.
was
Is
played
that
by
Lupita
Luke.
Nyong'o?
Yeah, but it's
Okay, yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
CGI, so it's like, okay, I mean, there wasn't really a need for that character to be all CGI because it's a completely new character. Like you did not have to do that, but it's like
Yeah.
they can like check the box on diversity while also like, not actually giving those actors any like
Screen time.
real screen time. And I feel
Like,
like in terms of the way the male Twi'leks view the female Twi'leks, it's almost a stand-in for the audience because there's so much pushback anytime Twi'lek females break that mold that they've established. Like Ayla's not given that much attention in canonical material. Like she appears in the Battle on Geonosis and Attack of the Clones, and then she appears during the Order 66 montage in Revenge of the Sith. But I feel like if she hadn't been given this character design that's very obviously geared towards the male gaze, that there would be as much criticism directed towards her as a female Jedi as there was towards someone like Rey, for example, despite the fact that she's a very, very minor character in the prequel trilogy.
right.
And like Rebels gets what I consider a very undue amount of hate, particularly from the male fan base. And I do think that stems from like their dislike of Hera and seeing a strong female Twi'lek, because even though she's like, obviously she's very beautiful, but she's not like, that's not like the only thing that she's bringing to the table, which is like the case with so many of the like super minor Twilight female characters where they only have them, working as entertainers or
Dressing
waitresses or like,
provocatively, or
yeah,
like put up on that pedestal to be like seen as
and consumed
objects.
basically. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then coming to like one of the most recent portrayals of a Twilight woman in Star Wars media, I know that we're not necessarily supposed to like Cyan as a character. Like she does double cross Mando in The Prisoner and she gives him some grief, and she's not like the most likable character. But the amount of hate that she received, I feel like directly correlates with the fact that a lot of audiences just did not like seeing a Twi'lek portrayed as, like stronger. She's more aggressive. She's running with a crew, but she's very much working for herself rather than being employed or enslaved by a man, like we've seen with so many of the other Twi'lek women. She's in one episode out of 8 in the first season, and I still see posts going around talking about how much people hate her. So it really makes you wonder, like, how deeply is that rooted, and like how much does that have to do with like the coding of the Twi'lek race?
Right, because I never saw like hate toward the guy on that crew that she was on from that episode. You know what I mean? Like she's the one that it sticks out that people like just vehemently dislike. And I'm like, dude, they all did the same shit.
Yeah. And then like Mayfeld gets a redemption arc despite the fact that he literally worked for the Empire.
Yeah.
And Cyan is like, we'll probably never see or hear from her again. Obviously, like we might in season 3, but it's like people are probably going to react even more vehemently and be like, why did she need to come back? She wasn't even an important character, when I would argue that's very much the same with Mayfeld. It's just different because he's a white man.
Yeah. Right. And like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll watch Star Wars and be like, this is a fun comfort movie. It's nostalgia for me, and I can just sit there and watch it and have fun. But at the same time, I am aware of the problems within it, and ways I can like analyze and self-criticize. Everybody has their own implicit biases that you have generally, and just even as a white person, sometimes you're like not totally aware of the of like POC characters and like the issues that they may have with their story being written by a non-person, like not a person of color. And you can live in blissful ignorance, or when you see something like that, you can confront your own implicit biases and be like, oh yeah, that was kind of a fucked up storyline for them to have, or oh yeah, that was whatever, because you don't see it that way yourself. So I think a diverse and inclusive like fan base is one way of like, hey, you just let people, like, you can enjoy things, you can watch something and like it, but you have to be able to recognize issues within that, and how they reflect in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like listen to the actors when they're calling these things out. Listen to other members of the fan base when they're calling these things out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just ignore it because it makes you uncomfortable or makes your viewing experience like less pleasurable. Like they're not trying to ruin Star Wars for you. They're
Yeah.
trying to make it so that everyone can enjoy it.
Right. And like, that's where I got that whole thing when they were like, Rey is a Mary Sue. I was like, first of all, Luke is the definition of a Mary Sue.
And
If
also, men
we're
don't
being,
even know what a Mary Sue is. They think that any
yeah.
woman who has any modicum of competence is a Mary Sue.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I was like, hey, remember when Luke found out that he was able to wield the Force and then fought his dad like the same day,
And
and he just magically won?
you're like, yeah, imagine having an argument with your parent and not bursting into tears. Could not be me.
Joke's on you. You think I could talk to my the father who abandoned me and not cry?
I mean, if you want any evidence that that's a Mary Sue, it's like mental health issues. He's never even heard of those.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fucked up that they didn't even incorporate Leia being Force sensitive into anything except for that one bit in um Rise of Skywalker. But even then, it was like, Leia can use the Force. I'm like, why didn't she do anything about it ever in any of the movies? Why didn't you tell her she had the Force? It just,
They're like, what's more important, putting her in a slave bikini or making her Force sensitive?
I can't even enjoy half of Return of the Jedi because I'm like, I can't fucking look at Leia. I feel bad.
And I mean, it's like, it makes it even worse because Carrie Fisher's talked about how uncomfortable she was and like how much she disliked filming it.
And assaulted her during the filming of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's, George Lucas is going to face absolutely zero consequences for that one, or for putting Ahsoka, a 14-year-old, in a tube top and a miniskirt. Like, there's
what
just.
The fuck was that?
And for having Ayla have the most, like, male gaze geared character design ever.
Like,
I mean, every other Jedi pretty much has a much more practical, like, set of clothing. And this is not me saying that like she should not be able to wear whatever she wants, but it's just like,
it was so clearly designed by a man.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, she's like she seems to me she's a little unconventional, but she's pragmatic enough that I do not think that she would honestly be like, what's a good Jedi outfit? A leather bikini top.
Yeah,
and low-rise pants.
So when I'm fighting, I'll be so uncomfortable.
I mean, and I can't do certain movements without being worried something's gonna fall out.
Like have you ever worn a bikini top?
This is not me saying that like women can't be sexy. You can, but like, I mean, for example, like in Birds of Prey, I think this is a good example. Like their outfits are like cool and cute and hot, but they can also still fight in them. Like it's possible to do both. But again, that was a female like creative team that worked on it, and it's very
Right.
obvious that no women had any input in Ayla Secura's character design.
Like Black Canary, they're like, oh, how do you kick so high in those tight pants? She's like, oh, I don't know, I just like them. And it's like, her outfits are sexy, Harley's outfits are sexy, but there's that clear difference between Suicide Squad Harley and
Yes.
Birds of Prey Harley.
And also, like, at least we get an acknowledgement that, like, she chose to wear those things. Like, there's much more, there's a bigger sense of autonomy. Whereas with Ayla, it's like,
Right.
okay, all we've seen is that, like, the women are raised to be submissive and to do what others tell them and to make themselves as palatable to men as possible. So it's like, we're not going to be like, oh, okay, but that seems completely separate from her having, like, the most provocative outfit of any of the Jedi.
Exactly. Why didn't oh shit, what's the old lady Jedi's name who runs the library?
Jocasta Nu.
Jocasta Nu. Why didn't she wear sexy outfits then, huh? Riddle me that.
Good segue into our next question, though, which is not about her wearing sexy outfits, but it's about her doing something super sexy. Can you guys talk about Jocasta Nu, who uses a freaking lightsaber rifle? How did I just now learn about this? Okay, so I love this.
Baddies
So
only.
I think the first time that we see like a blaster lightsaber hybrid was in season 1 of Rebels. I think it was like what is that, like 2015, 2014, when Ezra constructs his first lightsaber, because he outfits it with like a little stun gun, but it's more of like a safeguard because he's still pretty new to lightsaber combat at the time. It's not actually like harnessing any of the power of the saber. It's just like a Swiss Army knife type of deal where you can implement like one tool at a time. But Jocasta Nu, and for anyone who doesn't know her, like based on our brief description from a second ago, she's the head librarian at the library in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. She's the lady that tells Obi-Wan he's stupid as fuck and Camino doesn't exist because it's not in their archives.
The archives are incomplete. And she said, "Are you kidding?"
She was like, "Are you stupid?
This is my job, idiot.
Is my existence a joke to you? I live here.
Kids. Goddamn kids."
But anyways, so it did turn out that the archives were incomplete, but that's besides
that wasn't her fault.
It's not her fault. It's not her fault. There was Sith bullshit going on.
Yeah.
So there's like a lightsaber rifle that's kept in the like temple archives like vault, and she breaks it out for a duel against Darth Vader in, I think it's the 10th issue of Charles Soule's Darth Vader series, which fucking rules. If you guys haven't read it, please read it. You can find it online. How it works is like she loads the lightsaber into a slot at the top of the rifle, and it's like operated, I guess, how you would typically handle that weapon, except the blasts are a lot more powerful, and you can only do about like 5 before the lightsaber starts just like melting down. So, isn't the most practical weapon for a Jedi? No, and it was like basically banned, which is why it's kept in this vault. But it is super fucking cool, and that series is very sexy, so I would highly recommend you guys check it out.
Love that.
And also, I would love to see a live action version of that.
Yes.
Imagine if Din made a blaster out of the darksaber, because we lost the Ambin sniper rifle. RIP to her, she was so sexy. But like, what if he made the darksaber into a rifle type of thing and it replaced the sniper rifle? That would be so hot.
That'd be fucking sick.
Can you imagine? I mean, like, yeah, he couldn't really use it that much because, like I said, it's limited to, just a couple shots. But like, he could definitely destroy Moff Gideon with it, for example.
I was gonna say, all he needs is one good shot.
And like, even if Moff Gideon is like, he like learns how to become like force sensitive or whatever, Darth Vader's not immune to it, and he's definitely more powerful than Moff Gideon. So jot that down.
That's so sick. That's so sick, dude. And I'll be honest with you, I fucking love Moff Gideon's character design. I love the callback to Vader's fit. I love the helmet. I love the aesthetic of the Dark Troopers.
Yeah,
it's all sick. He's swagged out up there.
I'm honestly really glad that he didn't die in the finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian, because like I love him as a villain, and he wasn't really in season 2 that much, all things considered. I'm really glad that he's going to be in season 3 because I want to see more of him. I think he can be very like more evil than we've seen already, which is saying something considering there was Grogu in baby handcuffs.
Yeah, that was really cute. I know it wasn't supposed to be, but they were so small.
Like, I can't believe you guys just had these here.
They just had them. Really, really tiny baby. How many babies do you arrest?
I mean, I guess like there's like one very specific baby that they had in mind, obviously, but like still, it's just like imagine being like the person that had to make these, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
They're like he's a baby. Can't you just hold him?
You think the person that had to make the baby handcuffs might have been like, oh shit, I think I actually might work for the bad guys.
He's like, oh wow, seems to be a poor choice I've made when I went to blacksmithing school.
Like, oh, I might need to start my redemption arc as soon as I get that commish. I'm gonna
take that commission. It's a really big commission, but after this, I'm gonna reflect.
I'm gonna use it to become a better person. I'm gonna get my skincare routine together, and I'm gonna we're gonna be better.
You know who would play that role fantastically?
Who?
Jack Black.
Oh my god! Wait, I love him so much.
Who is very sexy, by the way. Can I just say that?
Well, you can say it. I mean, like, everyone already knows that, but you can say it if you need to.
For what reason is Jack Black so sexy?
Why hasn't Jack Black been in anything Star Wars? That's a crime, actually.
That's a very good question. I would very much like to see him replace Gina Carano, actually.
True. Oh my god. I think he's too busy making TikToks, but like if we could get him
for Nights at Freddy's, that's where
that would be good.
God,
he's like the only celebrity that, besides like Lil Nas, that like knows how to actually use TikTok.
Yes, that is what it was meant for. Like sometimes you see celebrities on TikTok and they're like, "Hey, I'm in a new movie," and I'm like, I don't want to fucking see this.
Yeah, like that's what that app is designed for. Stop trying to take it seriously, everyone. It's not cool.
You think anything's profound on that app? I can tell you. You look at my page. I can tell you it's not. Let's plug our TikToks. My TikTok. I want to get you a good fan base going. My TikTok.
I don't have any videos. I just use it to lurk and send videos to people.
That's true. Well, my is Daiquiri Heiress, a reference to the daiquiri shop, which is going to be my inheritance when I finally kill my father and usurp the daiquiri empire back home. That's a joke legally. Alicia, do you have
no, I'm good. You keep going.
The first one of the
sounds like you got yourself into a real pickle here.
Speaking of pickles, our sponsor, Pickle in a
I wish that was our sponsor.
Dude,
I think
they followed my other account on Instagram.
I saw that. I'm like, so where's the free pickles? I know these cost like 2 cents to manufacture. Like you can't just ship us a couple pickles.
Let me get a hot mama, please.
I love the hot mama pickle.
My mouth.
For anyone who hasn't tried those, like, yes, they're disgusting and they keep for like 15 years, which is about 14 years and 6 months longer than a pickle in a pouch should last. But it's like this sour, spicy pickle, and the crunch is just, they're
got
so
a
good.
Sexy lady pickle on the outside of the package for some reason.
Yeah, well, sex sells, so they're like, oh, put the lady pickle on there, and people aren't going to be able to help themselves, and the only people that buy it are just gays.
This pickle's got boobs. I have to take this home with me. That's, you know what? I guess I'm their demographic, because if I think that's funny, I'll buy it.
And me, meanwhile, like unwrapping it, trying not to look at her, like, I'm so sorry.
It's like walking by Victoria's Secret stores again. Like when I was
just gonna say, God, that should have been
down.
I felt like they were watching me, and I was like, I'm so sorry, ladies. I'm so sorry. I did not look at you.
They were like
even when I would go
whispering.
in there when I thought I was more straight and also female and would buy stuff from Victoria's Secret because that's like, what do you do, I guess. I would be like, I don't know, feel like massively uncomfortable with all the like promotional imagery. Yeah, so men's underwear superior. And also infinitely cheaper. And
dude.
more fun prints, Star Wars. Like the only underwear, like women's underwear that I've ever had that I liked was underwear that I bought. This is so cursed. When I was like 5 or 6. And there was like Phantom Menace underwear at the local Kmart. And like Kmart gets stuff like a couple years late usually. And so these jokers had Jar Jar Binks like right on the crotch. And I would always wear them. I was like, oh, where's my Jar Jar underwear at? And now growing up, I'm just like, I wonder what
that
affects
you psychologically.
It also had Padme on one of the pairs, and I was just like,
I can't.
I mean, now I'm like,
Padme would be too close to my coochie.
Now I'm like, well, I guess I'll take it. That's the closest she's ever gonna get. So,
dude,
like, I literally lived for like multiple years with Jar Jar, like, oh my crotch. Like, that's gotta be illegal. Why couldn't I, I mean, obviously I was a kid, so I wasn't thinking about any of that now, but like, after I've grown up, I'm just like, why did they put Jar Jar on underwear?
Who let them do that? It wasn't even it wasn't even like it was boxer shorts, you know what I mean? That are like shorts.
Yeah, with like a print all over. It was just one character like smack dab in the middle.
I thought it was all over print. It was just
it was just one.
Just a headshot of Jar.
It's like a mug shot, just like right in the middle.
Oh my god.
I was like, Misa, be uncomfortable.
Lucasfilm straight to prison.
Honestly, though,
would I buy those today as an adult? Yes, I would.
I wish I could find them. I think I even looked on eBay to see if there's like like ones for adults or something, but like obviously that came up with nothing that I would ever want to purchase. But yeah, I had so much Phantom Menace stuff as a kid, and I had some normal stuff. Like I had like an Anakin Skywalker pod racer like plate and cup set. And then I had some stuff that like my parents never should have purchased, and that was one of them.
That's so dude, I thought you meant it was like an all-over print. I was like, it
was just him like from the shoulders up, just like standing there.
Dude, I'm gonna figure out how to screen print things, and I'm gonna make you Bib Fortuna underwear.
I mean, like, I love that he was living his best life, but I don't want him to be living his best life on my crotch.
And not anywhere near me. No, I would like to file a restraining order.
Segue into one last thing that I want to talk about before we leave you guys, which is the Star Wars book club I'm trying to start.
Yay!
So I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but I am just now getting to sort of organizing it. But what I think would be super fun to do is we pick a book every month. You guys know how book clubs work, but it's really the only caveat or whatever is that it has to be a Star Wars book, but it can be extended universe, it can be canon. I don't care. We pick one and we discuss it together. You guys can do that. Like, we can talk about it as we're reading it, and we did just create a Discord for Patreon subscribers, so if you'd like to be part of that, you can check out our Patreon link. It's going to be in the description. But what we're also going to do for those of you who are not in a position to do a monthly support type of thing, which is totally cool as well, is we'll just sort of like do a discussion roundup where we answer your questions and read your comments on the book that we read in like a special like mini episode each month. So right now it would not start until March, obviously, because we're already a bit of the way into February, and I know this month is like short and crazy hectic for a lot of people, me included. So I'm just kind of trying to collect suggestions as far as what you guys would be interested in reading as like our first book. So what you can do is you can send us a message on the usual way. Again, there's links for that in our description, or you can tweet your suggestions at us. It's just at Sabacc on Twitter. And we will round up the suggestions and pick one, and then we can all start reading it together in March.
Yeah, definitely. And as for the Discord server, all that you need to do in order to join, you can join at any level on Patreon. I haven't published the server yet, but it'll be out really soon. I think the lowest tier is, I think it's $2 a month. If you're interested in checking that out, we'll have like, just the usual stuff. It'll be a server where you can, post fan works, you can post, just general discussion. I know a lot of people have said that they were like kind of looking for a community to like talk about Star Wars in like a, in a mostly they type community, of like people who are, like us and don't really have a space in many other places. So you can check that out. Again, link will be in the description. And if there is anyone who's interested in applying to be a moderator for the server, just let one of us know, because right now we're doing it ourselves. We've only got like a handful of patrons at the moment, so it's not too hard for us to moderate ourselves. But if anybody in the future would be interested in that, I know there's people who like to do that. So you can just get in touch with us. You can DM us, whatever you'd like to do. And we can also, I can set up a channel in the server for book club, for suggestions, things like that. So if there's anything that you guys want to suggest to us as far as that goes, you can totally do that there. Again, you can always submit questions, and there'll be like a voice chat channel. So it'll just be a fun little place for everybody to hang. I've been in a few other ones, and I think it would be cool to like, just have that kind of space where we can just yell about stuff. That's what this entire podcast is. So I think
sometimes you can't just yell once a week for an hour. You just can't get enough of us, so we're
exactly. And I think I think it would be really fun. So if you guys are interested, definitely check that out. And we appreciate you so much for listening. Anything else you want to add, Alicia?
No, I don't think so. Thank you guys for checking in on us last week when we were absent. We will be like resuming our normal posting schedule, which is dropping new episodes at like 8 a.m. Eastern time on Monday mornings for everyone. Patreon subscribers do get early access. I won't specify a time, how much earlier, because it does sometimes depend on our work schedules for that week, but you do get the episodes before anyone else, and also bonus content, etc.
Yep. And so if there's anything in particular that you guys want to see from us, hear from us, any suggestions for the Discord server, if you guys get in on that, we're always welcome to feedback. And we just love you guys so much. So thank you for always hanging with us and enjoying yourselves and let us enjoy ourselves. So thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you guys. And we'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.